Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to a new video. Today I'm doing my first monthly reading wrap up on my channel. We're going to do the wrap up for the month of April. It was kind of a slow month, a little bit. I only read 4 books. I only had 4 books on my TBR and that's all I plan to get through. I did a fantasy series as a buddy read. I got into some contemporary fiction. I got into some adult fantasy. I'm trying to get more into my adult fantasy bag because I just really be on YA fantasy and I'm missing out on all the really good adult fantasy. So I've been trying to read more of that. So let's go ahead and get into the wrap up so I can give y'all a breakdown, some ratings, my thoughts, opinions, a short summary. I'm going to try my best not to spoil anything. If I do, I'll try to put a heads up. But yeah, let's get into the first books. By the way, if y'all hear my dog barking or just noise in general, I just gave my dog a bath. So she's very unhappy and she's running around like a maniac. And I closed her out of here so that she didn't come in here knocking over anything. So yeah, that's probably what it is. So first up, for the month of April, I read the Blood-like duology by Lysel Sandberry, Blood-like Magic, and Blood-like Fate. This dust cover is slipping off as I am speaking. Where are you trying to go, ma'am? So these books are YA fantasy, sci-fi fantasy books. I'm going to get into them individually though, so we're going to start with this one first. First book is, like I said, Blood-like Magic, written by Lysel Sandberry. The main character or our protagonist in this book is Voya. That's who you see on the cover here. And in her world, she comes from a family of witches, a community of witches. And to actually become or to call yourself a witch, you have to go through what is called a calling, where one of your ancestors will come to you, give you a task. You have to complete that task, and if you pass, you become a witch and you get a power. For example, one of her cousins has the power to read minds. The other cousin has the power to, I believe it is to feel when people are uncomfortable. I don't remember. For some reason I'm feeling like it's also to make people uncomfortable, but I don't think that's what it is. I think it's just she can sense when people are uncomfortable, which is a strange power. They even say that many times in the book. So anyway, so we go through Voya, her journey with her calling and her task and having to complete that, and it's not an easy task. I don't want to really give away too much, but what I will say is that and it's on the summary, so it's not really too much of a spoiler, but her task is that she has to destroy her first love. And destroy is a very subjective word here. It could mean destroy them as in mentally. It can mean destroy them as in to unalive them. It could mean multiple different things. So that's one of the problems, is trying to interpret exactly what does destroy mean from her ancestor. So I did give this book 5 out of 5 stars. I thought it was really good. I love the world building. I love the magic systems, the way they all get powers, but they all have a specific power, but they also still just have like normal, regular, like witch powers, which is really cool. It was just, I just really enjoyed it. I'm a big fantasy buff, and I enjoyed it a lot. Okay, second book in the duology, Blood-like Fate. It's going to be hard to talk about this book without spoiling anything that happened at the end of the first book. So I'm not going to go too much into a summary here for this one, but I'll just tell you guys my thoughts and opinions on it. So I gave this book 4.5 out of 5 stars. So I loved it. Don't get me wrong, it was a great book, just as beautifully written. It added on to the more world building, we found out about other witches outside of the community in Canada where Voya lives with her family. The plot was, I'm going to say, this darkness wise, this was a little bit darker. It reminded me of This Wicked Fate, because This Wicked Fate is the sequel to This Poison Heart, and it was a lot darker than the first book. But this, I don't know why, for some reason there was something about it, and I still cannot put my finger on what it is. but there was something about it that made me not give it 5 stars. I'm still trying to work out in my mind what that was. I don't know, but it was still such a good read. I highly recommend this series. I mean, I really wish there was a third book. I don't know where she would have gone with the third book, but I mean, this story overall, I think overall the story gets a 5. Like from beginning to end, I think the story gets a 5. It kept me engaged. I was invested. I fell in love with the characters. You know, it's good when one of the characters just make you don't like, I don't like to use the word hate, but you know, let me use this as a reference. You know how there's an actor who plays an evil role so bad that you can't help, you hate them, even though you know it's not really them, the actor is playing a part, you still, it's like, I don't like you because of that. Like, I know it's a fictional character, but it's like, girl, like, I don't like you right now. You know what I'm saying? But when you get those kinds of feelings when you're reading a book, you know the author did something right. So, Last of Sunbury, these were amazing books. I can't wait to read Delicious Monsters by her. It just came out this year. I'm so excited because her writing in these 2 books has me, anything she writes, I'm going to pick it up. I sat down too hard and stuff was shaking, and I wanted to make sure nothing falls because a lot of stuff be just falling off of here all the time. The next book from last month, I read Black Girls Must Die Exhausted by Jane Allen. I think this is the first in a series of 3 books. I think it's called the Black Girls Must series. This was good. This hurt my feelings. Towards the end, my feelings were hurt so bad. So in this book, we follow Tabitha, or Tabby. She's an African-American woman, and she's just going through life's trials and tribulations. She's realizing that, like, right from the start of the book, she's realizing that her plans of how she wanted to live her life are not going to be, see, there go my dog, are not going to be playing out the way she wants them to. And she begins to struggle with that. And, you know, she's got things going on at work that are causing her stress. And she's all the while, with all this going on, she's trying to maintain her romantic relationship, her friendships, her relationship with her grandmother, which is the sweetest thing. One of the sweetest things I've ever read in a book is the way that the relationship is between Tabitha and Tabitha. She's named after her grandmother. They both have the same name. It's so cute. And her grandmother calls her T-W-O. It's so cute. Oh my gosh, it's so adorable. But I thought this was good. This got a 4 out of 5 stars. Books that are like regular fiction books, and I don't think this is an unpopular opinion. This is just, I mean, you know, you read what you like to read. I like to read fantasy books. That's my gig. That's what I like to do. I like to get lost in a good old fantasy book with some magic and some stuff that may or may not exist in the real world. So when I read stuff that's just like straight fiction, it's harder for me to get into it, which is unfortunate because, I mean, it's not the book's fault. It's just, I like to read what I like to read, but I'm trying to branch out from just reading fantasy stuff. So I try to force myself to read like a regular fiction or romance book every month. But this still, just because it got 4 stars, that doesn't mean there was anything wrong with it. It just wasn't like spectacular in my eyes. It was just good. You know what I mean? I'm going to read the next couple of books. I heard from people on TikTok that Tabby still don't got her ish together in the next couple of books. I need homegirl to get it together. Like, I'm rooting for you, Tabitha girl. I really am. I'm rooting for you. Alright, and the last book that I read for the month of April, I think was the book on my TBR that I was the most excited to read. And that was The Adventures of Amina Al-Sarafi. This was really good. This was my adult fantasy book of the month. It's by Shannon Chakraborty. This cover is crazy cool. Like, it's so cool. I love pirates. I don't know why. I just really, really love pirates. And I have like all these history books. I was doing pirate research for things. But anyway, this book was really good. So, of course, we follow Amina. And when we meet her in the beginning of the story, she is retired. She's living on a little strip of land with her daughter and her mom, and she's minding her business, living a regular old life, when the mom of one of her former crewmates, I want to say it was her first mate, I could be wrong, but one of her former crewmates shows up and says, my granddaughter was kidnapped. You gotta go find her. You need to. This is your problem. You gotta go find my granddaughter. And she's like, no, I'm retired. I'm not doing that. No, you have to find somebody else. But then old grandma is like, I'll give you, it's not dollars, but I'm going to say dollars. That's not the unit of currency that was in the book. I give you $1 million. She's like, okay. So she goes off on this adventure to go and find the granddaughter of the daughter of her former friend. And she picks up some of her old crewmates along the way. And they deal with some evil sorcerers and magic that nobody understands, like ancient magic. And I thought it was very good. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. Only because, and this is something that is a little annoying to me. Let me, if you agree, let me know in the comments if you agree. I get annoyed in a book where where was that? When they constantly mention something like, oh, like for example, in Avengers, they like mentioned Budapest. Oh, me and you remember Budapest very differently. What happened in Budapest? Y'all keep bringing up Budapest, but we don't know what happened in Budapest, and that's annoying. That's what happened here. They're like, oh, what happened to homeboy that one night, or that night, or the worst night ever, and they all keep alluding to it. I'm like, what was it? In at least almost every chapter, maybe almost every chapter, I might not be right about that, but a lot, they kept bringing up this thing that happened, and that's the reason why she retired, and it happened like right before she retired. But we don't find out exactly what happened until like maybe 4 chapters from the end, 4 or 5 chapters from the end. And that's not a little book. Fantasy books are very rarely a little book. But don't do me like that. Don't keep saying this and I'm like, what happened? What happened? Let me know. I wasn't there. We weren't there when whatever happened the worst night ever. I don't know that. Let me know. So that's why this got 4 stars. But overall, I thought the story was really cool. The plot, you could tell that she did a lot of research with this book, especially at the end, because she like gives you a further reading section and like some in the author's note, and she's just got it's a bibliography in there. Like you can tell like she did her work when she wrote this book, because there are a lot of things in here that needed to be, I guess, historically accurate or whatever. But it was very, very good. I do recommend you go pick up this book about Miss Amina, and I think it is the beginning of a series, which I'm excited about, but I really wish I could just have a fantasy book that did not start a series, that was just like a standalone. I know it's hard when it's fantasy to like cram an entire story into one book, but somebody do that. I know it's a few out there, but if y'all got recommendations for me, please let me know, please. So that is the end of my April wrap up. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Let me know if you read any of the books that I mentioned and how you felt about them, how you rated them, who's your favorite character from any of the books. If you are not already subscribed, make sure you subscribe and like the video before you go. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.